The Graduate Research Clinic is a multidisciplinary network of graduate students and senior academics research fellows spread across Africa and the diaspora. The core aim of GRC is to provide a capacity development platform for graduate students and scholars in Africa, irrespective of discipline or ideological orientation. There's just one rule here: if you have to reshare a post, be 100% sure it is research related, else, just stay on read comment only mode. Thanks. Good day everyone. The productivity hack session starts in a bit. Hope we're all settled in. Promises to be an interesting learning experience. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's virtual session, Mayowa Abati. Mayowa is a lecturer at King's University, Osun State, Nigeria and a junior research fellow with IFRA Nigeria, Institut Français de Recherche en Afrique. While he prepares to take the floor, we'd like to implore everyone to maintain decorum during his presentation, which should last for approximate 60 minutes, and we'd thereafter entertain questions and any other contributions from members of the forum. Here's where you start. Mayowa Abati IFRA. Mayowa Abati. Thank you, Toby. A good evening to every member of the group. Thank you for having me this evening. I wish to start my presentation this evening by appreciating the pioneering effort of the GRC in putting together a viable peer support network with very experienced senior scholars to provide guidance and mentorship. I keenly follow all the debates and have equally benefited from some of the opportunities that have been shared on the platform. I want to extend a heartfelt appreciation to all our senior scholars who have made it a call to engage with us, junior scholars, on the group. It's a privilege to share in their wealth of knowledge and experience. My presentation this evening will draw primarily from my very limited personal experience, especially as it concerns maximizing time and other resources for academic writing during this pandemic. So, I will be happy to learn from the varied experience of our senior scholars and other junior scholars. It suffices to say, I have more to learn from this sharing tonight. There is so much that we can discuss on the subject of academic writing in pandemic times, but I have decided to limit my presentation to just two major themes: 1. Time management strategies, and 2. Writer's block. I will be discussing how we can take small consistent steps on a daily basis towards our bigger writing plan and goal. 1. Time management strategies. As a male academic, it is important that I acknowledge that the COVID-19 pandemic has gendered implications when it comes to academic writings. Many journal editors are observing unusual gender patterns in submissions. While they acknowledge that overall submissions by women are up, solo-authored submissions by women are down substantially. The reason for this isn't far-fetched. Women academics researchers working from home find it difficult to maximize their time, especially with their kids around them. Notwithstanding the varied gendered implication of pandemic, both genders will find a few time management strategies helpful. Despite all the negativities that comes with the COVID-19 pandemic, if there is something positive that the pandemic has afforded us, whether as academics or graduate students, it is time. Before the pandemic, 24 hours was hardly enough to do anything serious. We were always racing for time in all we did, pre-pandemic. But all of a sudden, time is no longer an excuse. Instead, it has become excessive for some, just enough for some and less hectic for others. Yet we will all agree that maximizing time is dependent on how we deploy it. This is because time is only useful to the extent of what we do with it. No one ever needs time for time's sake. We all need time as a means to an end. That takes me to some hacks that have helped me remain as productive as possible in the pandemic. 1. Daily to-do list. This is going to be my number one tip for staying productive, daily. I must say that in the weeks where I didn't follow through on my to-do lists, I got less work done. So, I should add that it requires some discipline to stay true to the schedule. One good way could be to make some mental note of the major task that we will like to accomplish for the next day and scribble them down, just before we sleep. Please, I would like to emphasize the write it down part. A lot of us, most likely already do the mental note part, but where we fail is in writing it down. Definitely, it won't be easy at first, but with time it will become habitual. I don't know the science that is at work in the process of writing it down, but what I do know, in my case, is that, while attempting to write it down, the picture of the events and the tasks become clearer in terms of urgency and importance, sequence and logic, etc. I am pretty sure that most of us, if not all of us, are familiar with the Eisenhower matrix. The matrix is how to prioritize our tasks on the basis of their urgencies and importance. 1 urgent and important tasks * do them immediately. 2 important but not urgent tasks, decide the best time to do them. 3 not important but urgent tasks, delegate them. 4 not important and not urgent tasks, delete them or use them for leisure. Now let's consider a few basic guidelines to follow when scribbling down our to-do lists. A overview first, details on demand. The to-do lists should be in bullets, no details at all, except for timeline for the action, e.g. attend GRC seminar at 4 p.m. B in one eye span, the whole to-do lists should never be more than half of an A4 page. C 3 good things, at night, after you've done your tasks for the day, try to write 3 good things that happened to you in the day. What I do is to mark the things I was able to do on my list and transfer the ones I didn't do to the next day's to do. 2 energy competence. Another important strategy that works well for time management is knowing our sleep and work rhythms, i.e. chronotype. We need to be aware of our energy competence and be able to draw our energy curve. Type 1. Strongly distinctive morning type. For this kind of people, between waking up and setting out for the day at 8 a.m. that is their prime time, say between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. If you are a student like this, I will suggest that you do your intellectual work, reading difficult texts, solving stubborn mathematics exercise, etc., during this your peak time. Such people, you will notice that they fall out before it's 9 p.m., they can't just stay up late. Type 2, weakly distinctive morning type. This kind of people wriggle out of bed at 6:30 a.m. in the morning at the earliest, and their most productive hours of the day is some hours after wake up and say 1-2 n. This kind of people should ordinarily do their most intellectual difficult tasks in the morning. And they won't start feeling sleepy until around 10 p.m. at night. Type 3, indifference type. This kind of people won't stand up from bed until around 7 a.m. and won't be energized until say 10 a.m. in the morning, but they remain more energized for a longer time in the day. But they won't start feeling sleepy until around 11 p.m. With the knowledge of the above, we can then proceed to draw our own energy curve as closely as possible. From my own energy curve, I am a weakly distinctive morning person. I don't fully rise from my bed until around 6 a.m. I may have woken since 5:30 a.m. but I can be on the bed trying to do my morning devotional and all, but to wake to full consciousness it is until around 6:30 a.m. But between that 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., I am most energetic. I call it my alpha time. I try to do my novel works around that time, e.g. writing a page of my thesis, etc. I don't need to eat to be able to do this, just so you know the strength didn't come from eating breakfast. By 10 a.m. my energy level starts to drop, but not at a very high rate, so I'm still able to do some work, only that the kind of works will be routine works, like teaching, marking scripts, attending staff meetings, etc. By 4 p.m., I am already reaching what is called low time. At this point I need to do things that refresh my energy level, my typical thing will be to get some meal and take a power nap of say, 1-5 mins. After then what happens? My energy picks up but at a very sluggish manner for a very short time, say 4:30 to 6 p.m. But at least I'm still able to do some more mental work before I reach another high time, after which it is now a quick descent in energy, free fall. At that point, the kind of task I put there are things that will require me to just supervise others to do. It doesn't require physical energy nor mental energy. Routine works like asking for updates from my fellowship excos, walking home from the lab, driving back home, etc. And by 10 p.m., my body is getting ready to shut down. At that point, I can now surf my social media, see what is trending on Twitter for the day, who dropped a message for me on WhatsApp, who needs a reply from me, etc. What the knowledge of energy competence does for us is that it helps us to understand the need to protect our peak time and high time like a tiger. Some people go as far as blocking their calendars off during those times, so they can maximally get serious work done. It is important to point out that there are moments of energy vs tension in an average person's day. It is normal to have such moments, especially because some externalities that you didn't make plans for can just interrupt your day schedule. So, there are activities, things that we can do to reduce the effect of such energy versus tension moments. If you are in a bad mood or feel negative, try this. Physical, 1 10-minute movement, e.g. walking, running, cycling. 2 small light snack, e.g. fruit, vegetable, yogurt. 3 relaxation technique, e.g. progressive muscle relaxation. Mental, 4 raise awareness, e.g. what do I want to achieve again? 5 create short-term objective, e.g. for next 15, 30, or 60 minutes. 6 method to act as if, e.g. playing the role of the motivated person. Emotional, 7 energizing social contact, e.g. phone call, coffee, lunch. 8 get something small done, e.g. replying to an email, filling out document. 9 distract yourself, e.g. listening to music, doing something new. To ease tension, these are activities we can engage in, because in every human interaction, energy plays a role. 1 break external boundary, feeling of togetherness, feeling as we. 2 find people in similar moods you want to have. We all have that one friend is never dull, call to him/her for 2 minutes can bring us into a good mood to continue our work. 3 find people with the same attention focus. If we all want and concentrate on the same thing, tension is better managed. 4 join inspiring interaction, conversations that inspire and give hope. 5 balance, all are able to listen and talk to the same extent. 6 intensity and duration, the breaks we take from our work doesn't have to be long, not too short, not too long is just perfect. B. Writer's block. The next main issue that all academics, even other professional writers, faces writer's block. Writer's block is when we experience blank moments in our writing process, where we are struggling between what to write and how to put it down. For most of us who may have completed some academic manuscripts in the course of the pandemic, we couldn't have avoided this issue. One of the major causes of writer's block for many people is the frustration of trying to write in conformity with some conventional writing structures, or the desire to produce a perfect draft that wouldn't need editing. The former and later are not achievable, whether as a writing newbie or an experienced writer. I make bold to say that even our very prolific and experienced scholars here must have had episodes of this concern. The difference may only be that, for experienced writers, senior scholars in particular, they have come to understand what works for them to get their creative juice flowing again. So, it is not uncommon as a graduate student to experience writer's block. Before I share some of the strategies that have worked for me whenever I find myself stuck in my writing process, it is important to note that people experience writer's block differently, and what works for one person may not work for another. Take for instance, while anger over something may cause writer's block for someone writing an academic piece. The same anger may serve as the creative juice for a fictional writer who wants to depict an angry character. However, it is still instructive to know how others are navigating their way around this common but unique challenge. Here are 5 strategies I have employed at various times during this pandemic to get back my creative flow when I'm stuck in my writing. 1. Stop writing. Take a break. It is usually advisable to take a break from writing for some time and find some exciting activities to engage in. The activities could be reading an article, academic or non-academic, or taking a walk. It is, however, important to note that, depending on the level of blockage experienced, the aim of the engaged activity is to exercise the creative part of the brain in a bid to resume writing. For me, seeing a movie will not be appropriate if I am experiencing a mild blockage, for instance. This is because the movie could be self-indulging, which defeats the purpose of the break. 2. Read what you have written before. This works effectively when I am experiencing a mild writer's block. I pretend as if I am not the author of a paper and that I am reading it for the first time. This way, I pay attention to every word, and try to do logical proofreading. I am also able to reconnect and identify where I lost track. 3. Do something physical. It has been proven scientifically that physical exercises are not only effective in keeping the body fit, they are equally effective in stimulating mental alertness. So, get up from the writing desk and do something that doesn't require your creative mind, like cleaning, cooking, gardening, laundry, etc. This way, you put your creative mind on autopilot and allow your brain to recover from the strain that is causing the blockage. For me, I go ahead to do something I have been postponing due to the writing task, and tell myself that if I cannot make progress in my writing, I can at least make some progress in other areas of my life. 4. Use visual thinking. Visual board. Oftentimes when we experience writer's block, what we are looking for are the right words to convey our thoughts, not that we don't know what to write. So, if the right words are eluding, visual designs can help graphically represent thoughts on paper in the immediate time. The advantage of visualizing is that it helps to capture overview first and details on demand. 5. Write freely. Free writing is a strategy that works for any writer. For me, whenever I resume writing after a major writer's block, I write freely without pausing to edit grammar, spelling, or punctuation. It may turn out that when I eventually get to edit it, a lot of what I have written may have to be rewritten, and still, the free writing helps me to overcome writer's block. 6. Sleep over it. If after trying all the strategies mentioned above none seems to work, I recommend that you sleep over it. Try getting some rest, free your mind over the inability to write. I understand that this is easier said than done, especially when there is a deadline staring at you. But the earlier you decide to allow your mind to rest, the better and quicker you can recover from the block and resume your writing again, and possibly still meet your deadline. The way I overcome the guilt of sleeping when there is work to do is to remind myself that the process is equally as important, if not more important, than outcome. So, when next we experience a writer's block, we should remember to apply any one or a combination of some of these strategies, and Viola will realize that it isn't because we are not a good writer. Rather, it is just part of the process of writing to sometimes get stuck. Enjoy your writing. In conclusion, I would like to say that academic writing isn't something that can be forced. Of course, we are in a pandemic and there can be more meaningful and worthy things that may call for our attention now than academic writing. We shouldn't force ourselves, if writing really doesn't seem meaningful to us right now. There is no harm in setting it aside and giving our attention to other things that matter in our lives for now. Let's just focus on the things that make waking up every day worthwhile. Thank you for your attention. Thanks for listening. The GRC team.